FPL game week 2 is drawing to a close. It is already time to have a look at my FPL game week 3 transfer plans. What is up everyone, FPL Harry here, welcome back to another video. Today, let's have a look at game week 3, my first transfer plans. What do I think I'm going to do with my team going into game week 3? Before we dive in, apologies if I sound really croaky. I lost my voice over the weekend and I'm doing my best to record this video while it's not fully back. Every sort of pause in the video, see I'm taking a bit of water, trying to do my best for it to not sound as croaky and as up and down as I possibly can, but bear with me, we should be back to full health next video. If you haven't already, please make sure you liked and have subscribed already, but let's dive in. So what you've got up on screen now is my team for game week 3 as it stands. It is a simple 3-5-2. Again, I have 2 free transfers and 0.5 million in the bank. In goal, Pickford does come back in for Turner. Again, a decent fixture at home to Wolves for him. In defence, Chilwell keeps his place despite being subbed off after 60 minutes for Chelsea in their defeat to West Ham, and we will talk about Chelsea later on in the video. Of course, they have Luton in game week 3. The nice run of Chelsea fixtures does start now, so they are a key talking point for us going forward. Next to him, we currently have Udogie of Spurs. Spurs look really good, so I am deciding to start him over Saliba in my game week 3 team. And finally, Estupiñán, the man who cannot stop getting attacking returns. He is absolutely on fire. If you don't own him, it must be a pretty difficult start to the season for you. Moving into midfield, it is a great, strong midfield 5. We have double Manchester United. They haven't performed, but they do have Nottingham Forest this week. And Mbeumo is a man on fire. And then we have the double Arsenal mids, of course, playing in Monday Night Football. And then up front, we have Erling Haaland, who rarely, but did, of course, blank in game week 2. He was my captain. Congratulations to anyone who went against Erling Haaland for probably getting more points than he did for sure. And then finally, Ollie Watkins as well. So on the bench, we have Saliba in there. Then we have Archer and we have Kabore as well. Saliba in for Udogie is the only one I'm really considering there. But I have 2 free transfers and my team looks so strong. There are some players in here that are not really performing at the level I really want to. Cough, cough, Manchester United assets in Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes, the 2 that I'm really not that happy with in my team at the moment. Watkins is ticking along okay, not massively pleased with him with no goals, but 10 points for him so far this season, it's okay. There are 2 transfers in the bank though, so I need to have a look at what I plan on doing. First up is the Manchester United mids. I've used Bruno Fernandes in the graphic, but both Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford have been disappointing, and if anything, actually, Marcus Rashford has been a little bit more disappointing than we've seen from Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes has at least been getting a couple of chances, although he's been missing them, not playing that far forward. Rashford really has been pretty anonymous in the first 2 games that they've had. They do have Nottingham Forest at home though in game week 3, which makes it a really, really difficult decision of what we want to do with them. In terms of those potential transfers in, there are 3 players that I would be looking to bring in as a replacement for those Manchester United assets. First up is Phil Foden. Manchester City look really good in their most recent couple of games. Phil Foden is playing in that Kevin De Bruyne role and I do really like him there. He did pick up an assist and then maximum bonus points because of how creative he was. Second up is James Maddison. Now, James Maddison was a player who after game week 1, everyone really wanted, and then he blanked in game week 2. The thing is with James Maddison, his assist threat is really, really good. 1.2 expected assists so far this season, but only 0.17 expected goals. That sort of goal threat is so minimal for him so far this season, which is a little bit of a concern for me. Then finally, we have Eze. Eze is a cheaper option. They didn't start the season that well. They do play on Monday Night Football. He does look like he might actually drop in price, but I think he could be a really good option and actually is cheaper than the other ones we've got here. Foden isn't necessarily nailed. Maddison left the stadium on crutches, although it does seem to be reported that it was just a precaution. Eze is just a cheaper way into them, leaves me a lot of money in the bank that I could potentially do a lot of other transfers with, and he's on penalties, and he's on all set pieces. The reasons that I like players like Mbeumo, who's done so well, the route to points with Eze is really, really good. Next up is Chelsea. So I had to delay this video. So you're seeing this on Monday rather than seeing it on Sunday evening when this video normally comes out, because I couldn't record this video without knowing the Chelsea results. I don't think I'd be doing this video justice if I put it out on Sunday not knowing the full Chelsea result when I went to record it, because of course it takes an hour or 2 to record it, so I wouldn't have known that result. And seeing that Chelsea lost to West Ham does change my opinion just a little bit about what I'm going to do with them. There are assets that I like. I do have Chilwell, who got subbed off just after the 60 minutes, so he did get the second appearance point, but only 1 point overall. In defence, Gusto, it's 4 million, looked okay, but Chelsea defensively don't look that great. The same with Sanchez, 4.5 million, but we really don't look that assured defensively still. Now, Caicedo and Lavia are still to come into that team, so I do expect better defensive performances from Chelsea, but it is a little bit of a concern. Now, the one that a lot of us had looked at for Game Week 3 onwards, for all those Chelsea fixtures that you can see, starting with Luton at home in Game Week 3, is Jackson, the striker. 7 million is a great price for him, but he didn't look great in that fixture. He looked dangerous in Game Week 1. Game Week 2 didn't look quite the same, and I'm really a little bit concerned about him. Are the fixtures good enough to go and spend that money on a striker? I'm not really sure anymore. Now, the other thing that I could potentially do is do something really boring and actually plan ahead for Newcastle. Their fixtures over the next few are not great, but I know in a few weeks that I'm going to want a Newcastle asset, particularly one of their defenders who, when their fixtures turn. Going up front, the likes of Isaac, I do expect when Champions League starts after Game Week 5 that there is going to be a reasonable amount of rotation, which makes Isaac, Wilson, the wingers like Harvey Barnes, Almiron, difficult purchases into our FPL team. So I am looking particularly in defence in either Kieran Trippier or Sven Botman. Now, Trippier is very difficult to get to. He's not creating as many chances now that Snarley's taking a lot of set pieces. But if I was to downgrade Bruno Fernandes to the likes of Eze, I could very easily go and afford Trippier. Now, I could do that as part of 2 moves, but I could also use my 1 free transfer this week to go and sell Saliba, who, if he's not starting for me this week, is actually unlikely to get into my starting lineup pretty much any week over the next few game weeks because of how good Spurs and Udogie have both looked. And I could just do Saliba down and just go and get Botman and use that as 1 free transfer, give those Manchester United assets an extra week in my team, look at them going into Game Week 4 once they've played Nottingham Forest. So back up to how my team is currently looking. I have 2 free transfers and I'm not going to burn a transfer at this stage in the season. So I am going to be making transfers going into Game Week 3. My initial plan straight away was Bruno Fernandes out, James Maddison in, and maybe Ollie Watkins out, Jackson in. 2 free transfers, get Maddison and get Jackson. Looking at their performances this weekend, I'm put off both of them and I don't think I'm going to do that. Right now, my most predicted transfer I think I will make is Bruno Fernandes out and go and bring in Eze, freeing up 2 million. That will leave me the perfect amount of money in the bank to upgrade Archer all the way to Jackson. Now, Harry, you're probably thinking, Harry, well, that's going to give you a benching headache every single week if you do that. It does, until you realise that Mbeumo, Watkins and Eze rotate absolutely perfectly until about Game Week 14 or 15 or so. So I don't think Fernandes is worth the money. I could also sell Marcus Rashford. I'm not sold on exactly which of the 2 I'd want to keep, but having both of them doesn't feel like it's really worth it. So selling a Manchester United midfielder down to Eze and upgrading my 4.5 million striker up to Jackson, getting him, because I do think the Chelsea fixtures are still worth targeting, but I still think Watkins is probably worth holding onto. So those are my first transfer plans. There's a lot of things to think about. Not planning on bringing in any more Manchester City in either Phil Foden or Alvarez, although I think they are both still great players to go and be buying into your teams if you have ways to get them. Another thing, of course, I could simply do, as I mentioned, is Bruno Fernandes to Phil Foden and actually just save the second transfer. But at time recording, I do think I'll use both. I like Eze's fixtures going forward. I still think it's worth getting a piece of Jackson in my team as well. Let me know what you think about those transfer plans. Any questions you have about your team as well. Any transfers you think you are going to make. Chelsea, Manchester City, have you not got Mbeumo? What are you planning on doing? Drop it all in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like the video as well. 1,000 likes on the video is always the aim. Subscribe if you are new around here as well. We're going to try and hit 76,000 before the Game Week 3 deadline. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe before you go, and I'll be back again very soon.